Hello, water signs, and welcome into your reading for the first half of February. So this time I'm going to do things a little different than I normally do. I'll do a spread to take a look at what's going on for jobs and career, love and relationships, and life path and mission for all of the water signs. And then after that, I'll go through and pull some cards sign by sign for each of the lines that we go through. So make sure to check that out in the description box below. There's the timestamp so that you can link directly to your sign once it gets to that portion. So before we jump into the reading for the first half of February, there's a few things that have happened, a couple kind of big things in the last couple of weeks of January. So for one, on the 27th, we had Uranus going direct. It had been in retrograde since the end of August. And so during that time, you may have noticed for the last 6 months of the year that that changes had kind of stalled out. So maybe you were just more in like a holding pattern, but now you're going to feel like change is becoming more of an option for you now that it's gone direct. So as of now, there's no planets in retrograde, so all of it is a little bit more straightforward, simplified energy. Also, Pluto went into Aquarius on the 20th, and it had been in Capricorn for 15 years. So that was a really big change going from that Capricorn energy where it's kind of about hierarchy and structure, and now it's moving more into how do we help the collective. It's that creative kind of forward-thinking type of energy. And then in the first half of February, we have some other planets going direct or going into Aquarius as well. So Mercury enters Aquarius on the 5th. So that's going to have this energy of getting kind of sudden insights, and then it'll spur some maybe unconventional ideas or a different way for you to think about things. We do have the Aquarius new moon on the 9th, and then it will be the full moon on the 19th of August. So this will be the beginning of that cycle. So it's a good time to get started on beneficial changes in your life and starting to be a little bit more independent. And then on the 13th, we have Mars entering Aquarius. So that's kind of that enthusiasm and motivation to make changes and to be thinking about the future. And again, it's kind of that creative, unconventional types of thoughts and ideas. So before we jump into the tarot, let's pull a card. And this is about like crystals and elements. So for the first half of the month, Andara, Palladium. So adoration, wonder, and inner fire. So this is really thinking about what is it that kind of sparks that inner fire with you. So as you start thinking about that creative energy that's coming in, that kind of eclectic Aquarius energy and changes to make in your life, what is it that's going to light that inner fire for you, create that sense of wonder? So we will keep that in mind as we start to go through the reading. All right, let's start off. Remember, this is the general water sign reading, and we'll take a look at jobs and career. So in the recent past, we have the Four of Cups. Then the current energy is the Magician energy. And then the next level of energy coming in is the Four of Pentacles. So in the recent past, it's kind of been this sense of contemplation, and you've been thinking about your job. There's a little bit of like apathy and gloom. You know, this character or this figure is sitting there under the tree looking kind of sorry for themselves. Like they have the 3 cups, and then Divine is bringing them a 4th one, and it's just sort of uninspired maybe as well. So the current energy, though, is the Magician energy. So even if you have been in this sense of kind of gloom and apathy, that's moved you into a space of, okay, now let's transform that. Let's do something better. So it could be as recent of a change as what's been spurred by Uranus going direct, since that's that idea of, okay, change is really an option now. Or it could be after Pluto went into Aquarius and you're working on that, focusing on what can I change? How can I live my best life? And then the incoming energy is, this energy of like security and stability, a little bit of like possessiveness and materialism, but it is a stability from a job perspective. So it looks like things are pretty smooth there. And also keeping in mind, you know, you have 2 4s that are showing up. So that's kind of got that sense of stability to it. So that's a good sign that at least that's not causing you a lot of distress right now. Let's take a look at some of the other aspects of life for you. So let's look at love and relationships and see what comes through. In the recent past, you have the Queen of Cups in reverse, currently sitting in the Ten of Swords in reverse, with the Ace of Cups in reverse as the next level of energy. So in the recent past, it's been a little bit of that like neediness and insecurity. Maybe you're feeling kind of fragile in the relationship. So there was something that was causing you to feel like things weren't very stable from a relationship standpoint. So, or if you were single, maybe that kind of seemed like that was not boding well with you. And remember, if you're not in a romantic relationship, you can also, or even if you are, you can also think about this as other relationships, whether it's a romantic partner, whether it's family, whether it's close friends. And then in your current energy, this Ten of Swords in reverse is this sense of, you know, you're learning your lessons, you're turning a corner. So having that recognition of, I don't like to feel this fragile, I don't like to feel this insecure and needy. How do I change that? So looking at turning the corner there. But then the next incoming energy is somewhat of a feeling of being unloved or lost or creative blocks. And so it kind of suggests that the idea of turning a corner here is like, I don't want to feel needy. So I'm just going to shut myself off to relationships altogether. And, you know, so sometimes that's kind of that knee-jerk reaction of, I don't like to feel that way. And so instead, I'm just going to close my heart off and kind of block off that heart chakra. So that seems to be the approach, so that you're maybe taking. And so that's something to, I guess, caution you about having that being your approach. And we'll take a look kind of sign by sign and see what that looks like. Maybe there's other courses of action or alternatives for you to consider there. All right. And then with life path and mission, we have the Nine of Swords. Oops, off the edge there. We have Nine of Swords in the recent past. And then we have the Eight of Wands in reverse as the current energy. And I pulled 2, so let's go ahead and do both of those. And then we have the King of Pentacles and then the Seven of Swords in reverse. So as the incoming energy. So in the recent past, it's been this sense of anxiety and stress as it relates to your mission or your life path or your purpose here. And that sort of trauma has kind of pushed you into a little bit of this like slowness, or maybe you had some missed chances or some bad timing, like things weren't lining up because you were focused on the stress part of it. And you were focused on the anxiety of trying to figure out your place. So you may not have been picking up on opportunities that were coming your way. The next level of energy coming in, this is a very reliable, stable, kind of prosperous type of energy that's coming in. And then with your Seven of Swords in reverse, there's a little bit of this remorse. And it also has to deal with confession, because the Seven of Swords upright is about like lying and cheating and deception. And so in the reverse, it's about rectifying that. And so maybe that it could be that if you're stressed right now and the anxiety or trauma is related to having not been honest, whether it's being honest with yourself or whether it's being honest with people around you, there's a sense of like remorse and confession coming in. And with that will help bring in that reliability and that security. So that's the overall energy. Like I said, we'll dive into it with each of the individual signs and see what that means for you and some ways to deal with that. So this one, work through your fears, was the Jumper card there. And some of that can be scary if you're at a point of needing to confess something or showing remorse. Sometimes that can be scary. And it's time to release negative energy. So actually, it's funny, both of those are Scorpio. New moon in Scorpio, full moon in Scorpio. So kind of coming around full circle, like work through your fears and then release that negativity. So that's a cycle together. And that can also come into play up here in terms of releasing your fears. So whether it's on your life path mission line or whether it's on the love and relationships line, like from a relationship standpoint, like working through your fears and then releasing it. Don't let yourself be held captive to old, outdated fears. Like, you're here to learn a lesson, and learn the lesson, incorporate it into your life, and then move on. Like, you're not here to stew in your lessons. You're here to learn from them and move on. All right. Gaia card is Ganesha, clearing away obstacles, protection, and guidance. So some of the obstacles, fear can be a huge obstacle, whether you realize that you're scared to do something or whether it's a subconscious thing. And with that's usually a trauma response. And so that could be some of this trauma over here, like that fear of, maybe you feel like your life path or your mission is not in line with what your family expects of you, or the family business is this, why are you not in the family business? And so that could be causing you some stress and fear. So clearing away those obstacles and really just looking at, what is my truth? What is it that I want to do with my life? Like, no one has to walk in your shoes but you. So you need to be making decisions that are good for you and being true to yourself and looking for that guidance from your guides and angels and higher self. All right. And then practice makes permanent. So I love that. One of my coaches used to say that, because this deck, if you're new to the channel, welcome in. But this is a deck that I had created. I did the spray painting and writing all these phrases on there. But I had a track coach in high school that always used to say, practice makes permanent. I'd heard the expression for years and years, practice makes perfect. And he said, nope, it makes permanent. So work through your fears and release that negativity, because you have to keep practicing that on a regular basis before that's going to become a permanent change for you. So practice makes permanent there. So that is the overall reading. And now we'll take a look kind of sign by sign, and some of it too, as I was talking about down here, like needing to be true to yourself and what is it that you want to do. That's that inner fire. What lights you up? Living your life to make somebody else happy is not going to be what lights you up. Like, you need to make yourself happy, and that's what's going to light that fire for you. So, all right, now we will go ahead and had a jumper card there. So that was Page of Cups was the jumper card, but we're going to go ahead and start with Cancer. And so we have our Page of Cups was that jumper energy, and Page of Cups that's a little bit of that naive, innocent type of energy. So in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, the Page of Cups is it's kind of like a young man, and he has a cup with a single fish in it. So I always imagine like that innocence of, if a little boy has a crush and he goes and he picks a dandelion and gives it to a little girl, like it's a small gesture, but it's a step in the right direction. So, all right. So Cancer, on the job career line, we have our Three of Cups. And we have our Page of Wands. So the Three of Cups energy, that's that celebration and that friendship energy. So you were able to transform this into a stable situation from a work perspective. So there's some celebration that's going on there. And then with your Page of Wands, that's a happiness and excitement and optimism. So there's this kind of this page energy coming through on career, and that's good. That's kind of that fresh start, excited about the future type of energy. So it looks like that line is going well for you, Cancer. Now let's take a look at love and relationships and see what wants to come through for you. So we've got the Empress in reverse, and then we also have the Nine of Swords in reverse. So, so remember, this line was the fact that there was like this neediness, and then you felt like you were turning a corner, but then it's leaving you feeling unloved. So that turning a corner is kind of the maybe hardening of your heart there, or closing off of your heart. So the next level of energy coming in with the Empress in reverse, that is like feeling unappreciated and kind of this blocked creativity and like dependence on outside factors. And Kali, that goddess kind of has that little bit of that destroyer type of energy about her as well. Then we have our Nine of Swords in reverse. So, you know, and we had our Nine of Swords in the upright down here, but in reverse, it's about seeking help and trying to recover. So there, you know, there is kind of this like where you feel like you're turning a corner and then maybe not feeling it quite so much, but then you are reaching out and seeking help. So let's pull a timing card on this in terms of when that energy turns back around after you're seeking some help, or like, let's look at the timing of that. After the Tower. So I think it's going to be something big where you have that feeling of, wait a second, I overshot it and now I'm feeling worse. And so that's going to kind of spur some of that, I need to reach out for help. And this, you know, these purples, if you watch the daily readings, which it's hard on these, there's no color to them, but I look at color patterns in terms of how the messaging is coming through. So these are going together, this working through your fears, releasing the negativity, and that's associated with the Tower. So I think that Tower is going to be what causes you to go within and work through some of those things because you don't like the way that this feels, that feeling like unloved and kind of out in the cold type of feeling. All right, let's take a look at our life path and mission. So we have our Five of Cups in reverse, and then we have the Knight of Pentacles. So so this is also about kind of turning the corner and moving on from some of this heavier energy. And then your Knight of Pentacles that's about like hard work and kind of patience. And this is a path that's going to take some work to be able to get you to where you want to be in terms of your life path and mission. And because it does take a while to figure out where's that inner fire, like what is it that really lights me up, and what is it that I want to do with my life? How do I get to a point of having that stability with my purpose? So let's see what the time frame looks like to get some clarity on your life path and purpose. More than a year out. So some of that, when you look at the patience part of it, is, you know, how do you find what that purpose is? It's not a matter of, can I sit down one afternoon and brainstorm and, hey, there you go, I figured out my purpose in life. It takes a while. So especially if you have fears that you're working through and needing to release some of this negative energy, healing takes time, and it takes lots of rounds of it as well. So it's not like, oh, hey, I worked on healing for a week and now I'm healed. So you're going to heal, and then there's going to be a trigger, and it's going to cause you to look back and work on that more and more. So that's something to keep in mind, is it's going to be a path to be able to get there. But overall, looking at the energy for you, Cancer, it looks like your job is stable. And then between these two lines, you have maybe some reflection, meditation, soul searching to figure out kind of your path as it pertains to love and relationships, and where do you want that to be in your life, and then also your life path and mission. And some of those might kind of cross over each other. You may meet somebody who helps spur some of these thoughts about your mission. You know, maybe you decide that whatever your mission is, you don't really want to focus on relationships because this is going to take more of your time. But since there's two areas that need work, or that likely need some additional attention from you, it's kind of a matter of choosing, where do you want to be putting that energy in? So that is the reading for Cancer. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. So there's a number of other videos posting on the website over the next week. So make sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those videos post. Otherwise, I wish you peace along your journey, and we'll see you next time. So now let's go ahead and move on to our Scorpio and see what more tailored messages are coming in for Scorpio. All right, so we will start with job and career. So the two that popped out here, we have the Chariot and we have Justice. So the Chariot is that fast moving energy, and then the Justice energy is going to be that righteousness and harmony and balance. And so it looks like everything is going really smoothly for you from the job perspective. So not a whole lot, I guess, of additional guidance or suggestions or tweaking there, because it looks like things are going pretty well. So let's go ahead and move on for Scorpio to love and relationships and see what wants to come through. So we've got the Queen of Cups and we've got the King of Wands. So the Queen of Cups energy, that's going to be that kindness and compassion. And then your King of Wands energy is going to be that loyalty and that leadership and kind of meeting those challenges. So right now, if you're in that place of feeling, kind of unloved and that there's a loss, it looks like for you, the next levels of energy, it's coming in with kindness. So the messaging here is don't get discouraged, and don't let this situation, between your current energy and this incoming energy, don't let that derail you. And definitely the message of don't let that cause you to wall off your emotions or wall off your heart because of the fact that maybe something didn't go the way that you wanted to. So still approach your situation with kindness and compassion and leadership. So if this is within the course of one relationship, maybe you thought things were turning a corner and then you still got into more rounds of whatever it is, the same argument, and feeling like you're not being heard. Don't let that spiral into like a confrontational, antagonistic stance with your partner. Approach it with love and leadership, like, okay, how do we fix this? How do we make it, get back on track? How can we work on this together? So it seems like this is going in a good direction. So given the fact that there's a little bit of a jump there, let's see from a timing perspective what that looks like in terms of bringing some compassion to the situation and turning this Ace of Cups into feeling more loved and appreciated within 3 to 6 months. So it might be a little bit of additional work that you need to put in, but in a relatively short time frame. So by the summer, things will be feeling a lot better, which doesn't mean that you're going to be miserable for the next 3 months, but trying to get back to that happier place, that place of adoration. So stick with it and keep a positive attitude. And it looks like your role in moving things back to a good spot is to be that compassionate, loving, kind person, kind of almost that like divine feminine energy. So the jumper card for life path and mission is 4 of Cups in reverse. So that's kind of this self-awareness and sadness and accepting what you can't change. So let's pull 2 more since that was a jumper. We have the Sun in reverse, and then we have the 6 of Cups in reverse. So this kind of has a sense of pessimism to it with the Sun. So it's not that bright, shiny, optimistic energy. It's more of the backside of that, the pessimism, the cockiness, kind of that maybe wounded inner child type of feeling almost. So your 6 of Cups in reverse is that feeling of you're focusing too much on the past and you're kind of getting stuck. So there's a sense of leaving home, which would be like your comfort zone here with your life path. And with this card in this deck, with the sun being the Phoenix card, the Phoenix burns itself to ashes and then rises again. So even though, yes, there's this pessimism that comes with this card being in reverse, there's a natural cycle where it's going to bounce back. So some of this is a matter of, there's been a lot of struggle here, it looks like, on the life path and mission line, because of the fact that there's been a lot of stress and you're kind of confused, you don't know what to do, and you have a sense of feeling kind of like you're being pushed out of your home. So it's really a matter of finding what is that life path for me. So let's see if there's any other guidance that comes through, since it seems like that's a line that is maybe causing the most unease of all of these. So, whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. So that's an Eckhart Tolle quote. And I really like that one because, when people act like, oh, this is so terrible. Well, you chose it directly or indirectly. So your choices in life up until this point have gotten you to where you are today. If you don't like it, make different choices. So I saw online, it was a meme, and it was something to the effect of, you are where you are today based on the decisions you made a year ago. So the decisions you make today will dictate where you'll be in a year. Choose wisely. So that's something, to kind of keep in mind. So on this line, it says a new romantic cycle begins, and that doesn't necessarily, this one says romantic cycle, but as it relates to your life path and mission, it could be saying that as this new romantic cycle begins, it's going to, trigger some sort of thoughts or feelings on your life purpose, or it could just be that all of a sudden you get a new life passion that'll help unlock this. And then intuitive communication, silent whispers of the heart. So a lot of it is connecting with spirit, connecting with your higher self, that inner voice as to what is lighting you up. And that will help kind of bring some clarity as to what it is that you're here to do. So your job, it appears everything is stable on the job perspective. Things are turning around here from a relationship standpoint. So hopefully once this kind of falls into place, it'll free up this bottom line here, free up your energy and attention to be able to kind of focus on what is it that you want to do. So I hope that today's message has been helpful for you. As always, take only what resonates and leave the rest. So there's going to be some additional special readings on top of the regular daily readings, posting to the channel within the next week. So if you want to be alerted when those new videos come out, you can hit the subscribe and notification bell. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, and we will see you next time. All right. So now we are on to our last one, our Pisces. And let's see what all messages are trying to come through for Pisces. What clarification can we get on these different aspects we've looked at? So the jumper card, we have 5 of Wands in reverse. So jobs and career. We'll pull 2 more cards since that was a jumper. We have 9 of Cups. And then we have 2 of Cups. So the 5 of Wands in reverse that's about resolution and peace and solution. So it looks like that transformation did bring you peace. It brought you some solutions or resolution to whatever, kind of, I guess, whatever was causing that gloom. Then you also have this energy, this 9 of Cups energy. So that's a sense of contentment and achievement. Like you've gotten it. You're sitting pretty. And then the 2 of Cups is that partnership and connection and companionship. So it looks like, maybe you've taken on a new business partner and that's worked out well, or even just kind of that sense of teamwork and you enjoy your job, you enjoy the people you're working with. So overall, it looks like good good news, good messages on the job career standpoint. So let's take a look at the love and relationships. We have our Ace of Swords, and then we have our Queen of Wands in reverse. So, so this is going to be some kind of breakthrough and clarity, some new thoughts coming through for you in terms of how to turn your situation around. So you thought it was getting better, but then kind of left in that space of feeling, you know, a little bit unloved and creative blocks and like just kind of at a loss in terms of what to do. So there's some new ideas that are coming through here in terms of what to do. But there is a little bit of that like selfishness or overbearing type of energy. So, you know, some of that could be, I'll call it, could be good if you're doing that to protect yourself from being, from falling into the same cycles and situations as you've had before. So, you know, life is all about learning lessons. And, you know, you're here on this planet, you incarnated here to learn lessons. And if you're doing something and getting certain results, but you're not changing how you approach a situation, you're just going to keep getting the same results. So sometimes that selfish energy is needed, like pull that energy back in and say, okay, what do I need? Rather than me being the giver, being the accommodating one, what do I need? And so it looks like there's going to be some new ideas as it relates to that. So, so it looks like that should be moving maybe in a good direction, because this this sense of adoration and wonder and inner fire, like you want to be in a situation, like if you're looking for romantic relationships and partnerships, you know, it shouldn't be a chore to be in a relationship. Like you should have that feeling of adoration, and not having this feeling of being unloved and feeling like it's a loss. So, oh, jumper card here, the Fool. And then let's see what else we have on our life path and mission. We have Six of Pentacles in reverse and the Hermit. So it looks like there's some fresh new start coming in with your life path and your mission. The Six of Pentacles in reverse is, it's a little bit of like, it says expecting payback. And sometimes that has like this bad connotation of, well, I'm only being nice to you because I expect something from you. But with this, it reads to me more along the lines of wanting to feel like you're being valued for your contribution. So this idea of expecting payback, looking at that more from the perspective of, if I'm going to be putting all this time, energy, money into this path, I want something out of it, you know, like I want to feel like, and I'm not saying that's financial reward necessarily, but like I want to feel like I'm making a difference. You know, you don't want to spend 10 hours a day on what you think is your life path and then having nobody being affected by it at all, like nobody's seeing any benefit. So you want to have some sense of, yes, what I'm doing makes a difference. What I'm doing is helping people. Then you also have the Hermit energy as well, and that's more of kind of that quiet, keeping to yourself. It's deep introspection. So you're doing some soul searching and really reflecting on, what does this new path look like? How can I make sure that this new path that I'm setting out on does give me a sense of fulfillment, does give me a sense that I'm making a difference in the world? So, so that's kind of the way that part's reading. And let's pull a timing card to see when we think this new path is coming into play, like coming into focus or realization for you. Summer. So coming up pretty quick. So kind of getting some ideas around, what do you want that to look like? What do you think, like when you close your eyes and think about your life path and mission and lighting that inner fire, what do you want that to look like, so that you can feel rewarded, like you can feel good about the energy and the efforts that you're putting in? So I hope this has resonated with you, but as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. There's going to be some additional different types of videos beyond just the daily card pulls that are posting to the channel this week. So make sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted when those new videos post. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, and we'll see you next time.